Do you know how long it actually takes to become an AI engineer in 2026? If you follow the right path in the right order, it's 8 to 12 months from zero experience to job ready, and 3 to 6 months if you already know how to code. So in this video, I'm going to break down every phase so you know exactly what to learn, what to skip, and when you're ready to start applying. The AI engineer role barely existed 3 years ago, and now it's one of the highest paid positions in the industry. Entry-level base salaries sit between $90,000 to $135,000, with 0 to 2 years of experience. Mid-level engineers with 3 to 5 years land between $140,000 to $210,000, and senior AI engineers with 6 to 9 years of experience clear $180,000 to $280,000. The reason these numbers keep climbing is that over 90% of global enterprises are projected to face AI skills shortages through 2027, which means demand is outpacing supply by a wide margin, and companies are paying a premium to fill these roles. And the people landing these roles come from 3 backgrounds: software engineers who already know how to code and just need the AI-specific skills, which is the fastest transition at about 3 to 5 months; data scientists and ML engineers who understand models but need to learn production deployment, which takes 3 to 6 months; and career changers with no technical background, which takes 8 to 12 months of focused daily work. None of those timelines require a degree. Hiring managers in 2026 prioritize a portfolio of deployed projects over a diploma for the majority of AI engineering roles. The roadmap from here to that salary has 6 phases, and the order matters because each one builds on the last. Python is the only programming language that matters for AI engineering right now. And it's the first thing you need to learn because everything else in this roadmap runs on it. You need to be comfortable with basic syntax, variables, control flow, data structures, and object-oriented programming basics. You also want familiarity with pandas and NumPy because you'll be working with data from day one. What you do not need is 6 months of computer science theory. You don't need to study advanced algorithms. You don't need competitive programming, and you don't need web frameworks like Django or Flask. Those are software engineering skills that are useful in general, but not on the path to AI engineering specifically. The milestone for this phase is simple. You can call an API, process a JSON response, and write a script that automates a task you currently do by hand. If you're coming from a software engineering background, this phase takes about 2 weeks because you already know how to code and you just need Python-specific fluency. If you're starting from zero, budget 4 to 6 weeks of consistent daily practice. And the key word there is practice, not tutorials. Writing code every day teaches you Python. Watching someone else write code teaches you what Python looks like, and those are 2 different things. Python gives you the foundation, but the next phase is where you start understanding the technology you'll actually be building with. This phase is about understanding how the models work at a level that lets you make good architectural decisions without getting buried in math you'll never use on the job. You need to understand the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning, how classification and regression work, what a neural network does conceptually, and how transformer architecture powers every major language model in production today. What you do not need is 3 months of linear algebra proofs and backpropagation calculus before you've ever touched an LLM API. That's the academic path, and it's the wrong order for AI engineering in 2026 because the job is about building systems with models, not building the models themselves. The milestone here is that you can explain how a language model generates text, why different models produce different quality output, and what trade-offs exist between speed, cost, and capability when choosing a model for a specific use case. Understanding these trade-offs is what makes an AI engineer valuable beyond just knowing how to call an API. Because when a client asks why the chatbot is slow or why the responses are inconsistent, you need to know whether the problem is the model, the prompt, the architecture, or all 3. Andrew Ng's machine learning course on Coursera and Google's free machine learning crash course are the 2 resources I'd point to here because they cover the concepts without drowning you in theory. This phase takes 4 to 6 weeks, and at the end of it, you understand enough about how AI works to start building with it, which is exactly what the next phase is about. This is the phase where you stop learning about AI and start building with it, and it's the most important transition in the entire roadmap. You need to learn how to work with the OpenAI API, the Anthropic API, and the Google Gemini API because these are the 3 model providers that power the majority of production AI applications right now. Learning one is enough to get started, but understanding the differences between them makes you significantly more valuable because you can recommend the right model for the right job. Prompt engineering is the other half of this phase, and it goes deeper than just writing a good question. You need structured prompts with clear instructions, chain-of-thought reasoning that breaks complex tasks into steps, few-shot examples that show the model what you want, and system messages that define the model's behavior before the user ever interacts with it. The project for this phase is a functional AI tool that takes user input, processes it through an LLM, and returns structured output that solves a problem. Not a chatbot that answers random questions, but a specific tool that does a specific job. You also want to understand Model Context Protocol, or MCP, which is a standardized way for AI models to access external tools. MCP defines what tools the model can use, what inputs those tools expect, and what outputs they return, and it's becoming the standard interface between AI applications and external services. This phase takes 2 to 4 weeks, and the milestone is that you've built something you can demo in an interview. The skills so far give you the ability to call models and get good output, but the next phase is the one that makes you hireable, because it's the most in-demand AI engineering skill in the market right now. RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, is to AI engineering in 2026 what database management was to software engineering a decade ago. It's the skill that separates people who can build AI demos from people who can build AI products. The problem RAG solves is simple. Language models know what they were trained on, but they don't know your company's data. When a customer asks your AI assistant about your return policy, the model needs to search your actual policy documents and base its answer on what it finds, not on general knowledge from the internet. The way this works is that you break your documents into smaller chunks, convert each chunk into a numerical representation called an embedding, store those embeddings in a vector database, and when a question comes in, the system searches the database for the most relevant chunks and passes them to the model along with the question. You need to learn vector databases like Pinecone, Weaviate, or Chroma, understand how different chunking strategies affect answer quality, and build at least one complete RAG pipeline using a framework like LangChain or LlamaIndex. The milestone is a RAG system that answers questions about a specific set of documents with cited sources and minimal hallucination. For your portfolio project, build the RAG system around a dataset that matters to the industry you're targeting. If you want to work in healthcare, build it around medical guidelines. If you're targeting finance, use SEC filings or earnings reports. The specificity of the dataset makes the project stand out because interviewers can see that you thought about the domain, not just the technology. This phase takes 4 to 6 weeks, and it's the one that opens up the job market because every company with internal data wants this capability, and most of them don't have anyone who can build it. RAG gives you the ability to connect AI to data, but the next phase is about giving AI the ability to take actions, and that's where the highest paying specialty in the field lives right now. Agentic AI is the fastest growing subcategory in AI engineering, and specialists in this area command salaries 30 to 50% above generalists at the same experience level. An AI agent is a system that can plan, use tools, and execute multi-step workflows autonomously instead of just answering questions. Instead of a chatbot that tells you how to check your order status, an agent actually checks your order status, identifies a delay, drafts a message to the customer, and schedules a follow-up, all from a single instruction. You need to understand the React pattern, which is how agents reason through problems step by step, tool use, which is how agents interact with external systems like databases and APIs, and multi-agent architectures, which is how you coordinate multiple specialized agents working together on complex tasks. The milestone for this phase is an agent that can research a topic across multiple sources, summarize its findings, evaluate its own output for accuracy, and take an action based on the results. This phase takes 4 to 6 weeks, and at the end of it, you have the full stack of skills that AI engineering roles are hiring for in 2026. Once your agent works locally, you also want to understand how to containerize it with Docker and deploy it to a cloud provider like AWS or GCP so it runs continuously instead of only when your laptop is open. Deployment is what turns a project into a product, and interviewers notice the difference immediately. The 6 phases so far give you the technical skills, but the last phase is the one that actually gets you the job. Hiring managers in AI engineering care about what you've built, not what courses you've completed. 3 to 5 end-to-end projects are worth more than any degree or certification for the majority of AI engineering roles in 2026. Each project should demonstrate that you identified a problem, made architectural decisions, worked with real data, deployed the system, and can explain every trade-off you made along the way. The strongest portfolio has 1 project per phase. A Python automation script, an AI-powered tool using LLM APIs, a full RAG pipeline, and an agent that handles a multi-step workflow. Each one demonstrates a different level of capability, and together, they tell the story of someone who followed a deliberate progression and can build at every layer. Commit every project to GitHub so it's publicly visible, and write a brief explanation of what you built and why for each one. A GitHub profile with active AI projects signals to hiring managers that you're building things, not just studying them. Share your progress on LinkedIn as you build. Post about what you're working on, what challenges you ran into, and what you learned from solving them. Hiring managers and AI actively scout for candidates who demonstrate consistent learning, and a visible building history often leads directly to inbound interview requests. And don't wait until you've finished every phase before applying. Most AI engineering roles in 2026 don't require all advanced skills at once. They require strong Python foundations, plus 1 or 2 specialties, usually RAG or agents. When you do get into interviews, the question you'll hear more than any other is, "Tell me about a system you built." The interviewers don't care about which courses you took. They want to see that you identified a problem, chose the right model, designed the architecture, handled the edge cases, and deployed something that works. Every project in your portfolio is an answer to that question. The realistic timeline for the full roadmap is 8 to 12 months if you're starting from zero, and 4 to 6 months if you're transitioning from software engineering or data science. Either way, every month you invest now puts you ahead of the wave of people who will start this path 6 months from now when the market is more competitive and the salaries have already attracted everyone else. And if you want a structured program that follows this exact progression, Zero to Mastery has an AI and machine learning career path with hands-on projects at every phase. The link to that is in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.